Senator John McCain taking on President Trump last night, slamming spurious nationalism. The president responding today saying, quote, "At some point I fight back, and it won't be pretty." Here now to react is Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff under President George W. Bush. He is also a Fox News contributor. What do you make of this?
Well, I thought the president's response was unnecessary.
Just don't say anything.
Just don't say. Well, look, the president gave here in New York City a speech in which he began by saying authoritarian powers seek to collapse the value systems and alliances that prevented conflicts and tilted the world towards freedom since World War II. He gave an ardent defense of our involvement in international institutions like the United Nations.
Then he went off to prompter.
Well, once or twice.
Yeah.
But you know, look, the president's got plenty on his plate. He doesn't need to pick a fight on this.
No, absolutely. And in fact, Senator McCain, I mean, I want you to listen to how he responded to one of our reporters' questions.
Has your relationship with the president frayed to the point that you are not going to support anything that he comes to you and asks for?
Why would you say something that stupid? Why would you ask something that dumb? Huh? My job as a United States Senator is a senator from Arizona, which I was just reelected to. You mean that I'm somehow going to behave in a way that I'm going to block everything because of some personal disagreement? That's a dumb question.
Bless his heart.
Well, look, I went through this a couple of years at the White House. I mean, McCain had obviously lost the 2000 Republican presidential nomination, and we had to work hard to build a cordial relationship. He did oppose the tax cuts in 01 and 03, but he supported them in 05.
To build a cordial relationship?
Look, we had a boss who said we need to
get along.
We need to reconcile, so we need to find a way to work with him, and that made it easier to do so. And look, Senator McCain is an authentic American hero, and eventually we were able to build a good working relationship with him, and he was about as strong a defender of the president on Iraq as one human being could be. But that's an important lesson. The president of the United States, regardless of who they are, needs to, you know, that old adage from the Godfather movie, keep your enemies close and keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Well, you know, there aren't enemies in politics, but you need to keep the people you've been in the fray with closer than.
Although that's true. Although the president says, you know, he gets out there and he gives it harder than he takes, blah blah blah. It's all a negotiation. You have people who've been beaten around the head and neck before now coming out on tax reform and standing by the president. Lindsey Graham saying it's do or die. Rand Paul looking very cheerful on the golf course.
Well, he looked cheerful on the golf course, but he basically said today,
big bold tax cuts.
No, but what he said today is I may not vote for the budget resolution that's necessary to make the tax cuts possible unless the White House gives me commitments on spending reduction. So he's standing as a one-man obstacle. We could bring the budget resolution in the Senate up and vote on it were it not for Rand Paul sitting there saying I'm not going to vote for it because we got Thad Cochran off in the hospital with a urinary infection.
Nobody's friends. So nobody's friends.
Look, there are lots of friends, but it's more complicated than we'd like it to be. Why can't we get this done?
Okay, Speaker Ryan saying we're going to stay through Christmas. If not, I'm going to hold you guys here. You believe him?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Because look, the House is going to pass its budget resolution, pass out of the committee the Ways and Means Committee the draft bill, and they're going to get it done, and good for them to do it because the Senate is always complicated, even more complicated when you got 52 Republicans and not a single Democrat who's going to vote for the tax reform bill unless their vote isn't needed.
If they go home without doing it, David and I are going to go there and pick it. You want to join us?
I don't think, you know what?
No, you don't want to.
No.
Okay.
So let's be thinking.
Forget it. You're not on our team.
Let's think what we're going to do when they get it passed and you're celebrating here in the studio.